The station master's daughter, the wind that swept down from the Montana Rockies, was a razor-toothed beast, gnawing at the logs of cabins and the resolve of men. In the small, ramshackle train depot of Silver Creek, the air was thick with the smell of coal, smoke, and damp wool. The station was the town's trembling heart, a place of arrivals and departures, of dreams realized and shattered on the hard anvil of the frontier. Eleanor Vance moved through this world with a quiet, efficient grace. At 22, she was the station master's daughter, a role that had become everything since her father's stroke. The railway company had allowed her to manage the ledger, sell tickets, and tend a telegraph, all while caring for her ailing father in their small quarters attached to the station. Her hands, once soft, were now chapped and red, familiar with coal dust and the sting of lye soap. She was a study in gentle resilience. Her hair, the color of rich mahogany, was perpetually escaping its bun, framing a face that was more expressive than conventionally beautiful. Her eyes, a warm, intelligent hazel, held a deep and abiding kindness. As she stamped a ticket for old Mr. Higgins, the town's blacksmith, she offered a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Train's running late. Ellie?" Mr. Higgins grumbled. "This cold'll freeze the rails solid." "The schedule says within the hour," Eleanor replied, her voice calm, a legacy of the nursing she did for her father. "You'll be warm soon." After it left, she walked to the large, frost-encrusted window. Wiping a clear circle with her sleeve, she peered out into the swirling whiteness. The world was a void. Her reflection stared back a pale, worried face in a pool of lamplight. Her thoughts turned to her father. The doctor had been blunt. "His heart is weak. He needs a milder climate." The words were a death sentence of another kind. How could they possibly move? A leaden weight of hopelessness settled in her stomach. Suddenly, a frantic tapping at the window made her jump. It was Tommy O'Malley, a young boy from a homestead a mile away, his face etched with panic. "Miss Eleanor, come quick. It's my ma. The baby's coming, and something's wrong." Eleanor didn't hesitate. "Mrs. Gable," she called to a dozing woman on a bench. "Watch the station. And my father." Grabbing her worn medical satchel, she wrapped a shawl around her shoulders and plunged into the blizzard with Tommy. The journey was a nightmare. The wind screamed, tearing at her clothes. The snowdrifts kneaded. The cold was a physical assault, numbing her fingers and toes. By the time the dim glow of the O'Malley cabin appeared, Eleanor was shivering uncontrollably. Inside, Mary O'Malley was writhing on a bed, her moans sharp with terror. Eleanor went to work, her own discomfort forgotten. Tommy stoked the fire. "Get water boiling." For 2 hours, Eleanor fought a silent, desperate battle. The baby was breech. She remembered an old medical journal with gentle, determined hands, guided by an intuition that felt almost divine. She worked to turn the child. She murmured soothing words to Mary, wiping her brow. Finally, with a final push from Mary and a guiding pull from Eleanor, a baby boy slid into the world. He was blue and silent. A collective gasp of horror filled the room. Without pause, Eleanor cleared the infant's mouth and rubbed his tiny back with a rough towel. "Breathe," she whispered, a fervent prayer, a tiny sputter, a cough, then a thin, reedy wail filled the cabin. Tears of relief streamed down Mary's face as Eleanor placed the squalling baby on her chest. Eleanor sat back, her body trembling with exhaustion and profound relief. She had done it. It was only then she realized her state. Her dress was soaked, her hands raw and shaking. The fierce energy drained away, leaving her spent and chilled to the bone. The cabin door burst open, and Mr. O'Malley stumbled in with the flustered Dr. Murphy. The doctor took him the scene. "Well, I'll be Eleanor Vance. You've managed quite fine without me." The baby was breeched. "But he's strong. You're freezing, girl," the doctor said, his tone shifting to concern. He felt her hands, like ice. "You need to get warm. Now." "I need to get back to the station," Eleanor insisted, her voice weak. "My father." "The train." but she was already pulling her damp shawl around her. The journey back was worse. The adrenaline was gone, and the cold slammed into her. Her legs felt like lead. By the time the lights of the depot swam into view, her shivering was a continuous tremor. Her thoughts were fuzzy. She stumbled up the wooden steps, fumbling for the door handle. She pushed it open, a wave of warmth washing over her. But it was too late. Her legs gave way. The last thing she saw was the wooden floor rushing up to meet her. The private railcar was a rolling palace of mahogany and brass. Inside, Harrison Hawk. Callahan stood by the window, a crystal glass of whiskey in his hand. At 35, he was the cattle king of 3 states, a man whose name was synonymous with wealth and a ruthless will. He had earned his fortune through back-breaking work and a keen mind. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with weathered skin and piercing, ice-blue eyes that missed nothing the eyes of a predator, which is how he'd gotten his nickname. He was returning from a successful business trip, yet a strange discontentment gnawed at him. The opulence felt hollow. The silence was oppressive. He had built a fortress of wealth, but forgotten to build a home inside it. The train's whistle blew as they slowed for a water stop at Silver Creek. Hawk sighed. These small stops were a nuisance. As the train shuddered to a halt, he glanced idly out the window. The platform was deserted. Then the station door opened, and a figure stumbled out, collapsing in a heap on the snow. It was a woman. He watched, expecting aid. None came. For a moment, the hardened businessman argued this was not his concern, but another part of him stirred. There was something terribly final about that collapse. Cursing, he slammed his glass down. He grabbed his heavy buffalo hide coat. Jenkins. With me. He leaped onto the platform, the cold biting his face. He hurried over and knelt. She was young, pale, and unconscious, with a delicate strength to her features. Her mahogany hair splayed across the snow. She was shivering violently.
"Good Lord! She's half frozen, sir," Jenkins murmured.
Hawk didn't reply. He gathered her into his arms. She was frighteningly light. "Open the door," he commanded. The warmth of the station hit them. The few people inside gasped as the giant, expensively dressed stranger strode in, holding Eleanor Vance. "What in blazes?" Mr. Higgins started. "This woman has severe hypothermia." Hawk's voice cut through the murmurs. "Where is the warmest place?" Mrs. Gable pointed to the station master's quarters. Hawk carried Eleanor through the door and laid her on a sofa near a glowing stove. An older man slept fitfully in a corner.
"Jenkins, get every blanket."
"And my medical kit." Hawk worked with focused precision. He felt her thready pulse. He wrapped her in thick blankets. He retrieved a silver flask of brandy and let a few drops trickle between her pale lips. She coughed, weakly. For an eternity, he knelt beside her, his large hand on her forehead, monitoring her shivering. He chafed her hands gently. The man who commanded empires was utterly focused on one unknown woman. Slowly, color returned to her cheeks. The shivering ceased. Her breathing deepened. The danger had passed. She stirred. Her eyelashes fluttered, and her hazel eyes opened, cloudy with confusion. They focused on him. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. The world faded. In her gaze, Hawk saw deep, quiet strength. In his, Eleanor saw a fierce, protective light. "W. who? Are you?" she whispered. "Harrison Callahan," he said, his voice softer than he'd ever heard it. "You collapsed. You're safe now." "My father." She tried to sit up. "He's sleeping. You need to rest." Dr. Murphy bustled in. He checked Eleanor. "Hypothermia. You're lucky, Eleanor." He looked at Hawk with respect. "You saved her life, sir." Hawk merely nodded, his gaze returning to Eleanor. The conductor appeared. Mr. Callahan, sir, we must depart. Hawk's decision was instantaneous. The train can go without me. Jenkins looked aghast. But, sir... The meeting can wait, Hawk said. His eyes locked on Eleanor. Tell them I was detained. He wasn't just detained, he was entranced. The next few days were a blur. The blizzard raged on, trapping the legendary millionaire in Silver Creek. Hawk took a room at the boarding house, his presence causing a constant hum of gossip. The answer was Eleanor Vance. He visited her every day. At first, his visits were practical, checking on her recovery. He brought medicine for her father, fine foods, and a heavy, warm coat. But the visits grew longer. He sat with her father, Samuel, who enjoyed talking about the railway. Hawk listened with genuine interest. Eleanor learned he had started with a single longhorn and a dream. One afternoon, as sunlight streamed through the windows, Eleanor was tending to her father. Hawk stood by the stove. You have a way with him, Eleanor said softly. He's calm with you. He's a good man. Stubborn. Proud. He is both, Eleanor agreed. She looked at him. The hot edge was soft when he spoke to her. Why are you still here, Mr. Callahan? Hawk, he corrected. My friends call me Hawk. Are we friends? I'd like to think so, he said, his blue eyes holding hers. And to answer your question, I'm not yet convinced you're fully recovered. It was a flimsy excuse, and they both knew it. Their conversations deepened. They talked of books and dreams. He described his vast ranch, the rolling sea, the thunder of 10,000 hooves. She told him of her wish to see the ocean, to live where her father could breathe. He watched her work, marveling at her quiet competence. She was the heart of this place. And he, a man of roaring storms, found himself drawn to that calm center. One evening, he found her looking at a faded map, her finger tracing a route to California. The longing on her face was a physical pain to him. I could take you there, he said quietly. She turned, startled. Hawk, that's a kind fantasy, but it doesn't have to be, he said, his voice low and earnest. Eleanor, these past days... Being here with you, it's shown me what my life has been missing. It's all been acquisition. Land, cattle, money. It's hollow with no one to share it with. Eleanor's breath caught. She saw the raw honesty in his eyes. What are you saying? I'm saying I've fallen in love with you. Eleanor Vance, he said, the words simple and devastatingly sincere. I think I have since I carried you in from the snow. Come back to the rolling sea with me. Bring your father. I have a home that has been empty too long. It needs you. I need you. Tears welled in her eyes. It was everything she had secretly dreamed of. A chance for her father. A chance for a life beyond struggle. A chance to be with this complex, gentle man. But fear held her back. Fear of his world. Fear. It was a dream. It's so sudden, she whispered. Your world is so big. Mine is so small. Your heart is the biggest thing I've ever encountered, he replied, taking her hand. Don't be afraid. Help me build a new one. Together. He didn't press for an answer. He left her with his heart laid bare. The next day, Dr. Murphy came. He pulled Eleanor aside, his face grave. Eleanor, your father is weakening. He needs to get out of these mountains soon. I don't think he'll see another spring if he stays. The doctor's words were the final push. It was no longer about her fears. It was about her father's life. That evening she found Hawk on the platform, looking at the star-strewn sky. She walked up beside him. It's a yes, she said softly. He turned, a slow, wondrous smile spreading across his face. It transformed him.
"It's a yes,"
Eleanor repeated, her own smile breaking through. "We'll come with you." Without a word, he took her in his arms. It was a quiet, profound embrace, a sealing of a promise. He held her close, her head resting against his chest. They stood under the infinite stars, the millionaire cowboy and the freezing nurse, their destinies intertwined. Their love story was just beginning, a story that would be made into history